She's the first American woman to stand on the Games podium since 2014. Now she has her sights on the top spot. Kari Pearce tells us what she needs to do to make that a reality in 2021. Joining me now is the woman who finished third at the CrossFit Games in 2020, the first American woman to finish on the podium since 2014, Kari Pearce. Kari, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, and how are you doing, Sean?
I'm fine, thank you. Now that you've had some time to kind of reflect on what went down at the 2020 CrossFit Games, what stands out to you the most about your experience there?
The thing that stands out the most is just being able to compete and be there with 5 girls, 5 guys at the ranch was just incredible and an experience that I'm never going to forget. And I just feel so honored to have been a part of that. And then as far as personally, the moment that sticks out the most is, the whole event at Atlanta and just going through that and hearing my coach scream. And since that was the event that, brought me onto the podium to end the drought for Americans since 2014, who was Julie Fouché.
Yeah, what does that mean to you to be able to say that you're the first American woman to stand on the podium at the Games since 2014?
It means so much. We all worked so hard day in, day out. And I started CrossFit in 2014, and I remember watching Julie get on the podium. And I thought that was so cool. And I never in my last dreams would have thought that I would be the one to stand on the podium after her, being an American in 2020. And I've been going for the podium for a few years now. So it just shows all the hard work and the consistency and the amazing team that I have behind me. Everything that we do was the right way, and I'm happy to say that we got the job done.
You have been extremely consistent at the CrossFit Games, inside the top 10 every year except your first, and of course on the podium in 2020. What do you have to do now to take that next step to possibly the top of the podium?
I think it's just continuing to do what I've been doing, work hard day in, day out, be consistent with everything that I do. Obviously that's training, that's nutrition, that's sleep. The recovery aspect is just as equally as important as the training. And I have an amazing group of coaches behind me. I have an endurance coach, a weightlifting coach, and then my CrossFit coach, Justin Kotler, who, tell me exactly what I have to do in training. And I always do the best that I possibly can. Not every day is perfect, but I think just consistency on a daily basis and really hammering my weaknesses right now, which, is my leg strength. So we've been working on that, and it's slowly getting better and better, as we can see just from the results of the games, and continuing to keep my strength strong as well.
You mentioned leg strength, but other areas where you think you need to improve your fitness, where are those right now as you look to the 2021 season?
I think just a lot of the endurance stuff as well. The running, swimming, biking. We've been doing a lot more of that the past 2 years. Like I said, I have an endurance coach, Rob Carson, who's really made me focus a lot on that, because it's never going anywhere. The games are always going to have running. There's always going to be a swim event, and in the open, things like that. There's always going to be rowing. Those are things that you can't hide from. And some people are like, well, you're short, you're never going to be good at rowing. I'm like, well, I might not be world champion at rowing, but I need to be the best that I can be. So continuing to work on that and not be last place, try and be, top 15 would be very advantageous.
We now have a season structure that has been laid out in front of us with an open, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then games. How does having that structure and knowing when you need to compete affect the way that you train and prepare?
Luckily, I have a coach that is in charge of all of that. I show up, I do what I have to do. Whatever he says goes. So, I know right now we're at a decently high volume, but I know as we get closer to, especially, the first stage of the open, we're not placing too much emphasis on that. We're going to just kind of train through. Same with the second stage, we'll place a little more emphasis on that. But then when it becomes the in-person sanctionals is when, that's when we begin to do a mini peak, just because, you have to qualify to the games, but we'll peak at the games. I'm yes, but also you can't take that for granted that you're just going to qualify. So definitely put up the volume, up the intensity and everything as we get closer to the in-person sanctionals before the games.
The Open means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Obviously for you, it means it's the start of the season. But other than that, what does the Open mean to you?
The Open means to me, like, it's so cool that people around the world are doing the same workouts, and like people in the gym are doing the same workouts. And I live in Las Vegas right now, and I'm training with 4 other incredible athletes. So I'm really excited actually this year to do the Open with them and just be able to push each other to see what I can reach, because I've always done the Open, mainly by myself or like with other members of the gym, but I think it'll be really cool to do it with another group of solid athletes, and maybe some members of the gym can jump in it as well. But it's just cool that no matter like your age or your level, you can do the Open in some way, shape, or form.
What's it like going from basically training by yourself to now, like you said, having a group of really high-level athletes pushing you on a daily basis?
So I'm not gonna lie, at first it was a little difficult, just because like you're used to, being by yourself and doing your best, and you're like, okay, I did well, whatever. But then like on a daily basis, like I'm getting beat by other athletes. And usually when you train with other people, when you're one of the best in the world, then you're used to winning all the time. And that's not the case. And at first, like I said, it's hard when we're all so competitive. But I think now we've had a time to like settle in a little bit and just realize that, we are there to push each other and just be the best versions of ourselves possible, and know that other athletes have different strengths than we have, and that's just going to help me get better. Like when I work out with them, and I know Bethany's amazing at rowing and wall balls and a lot of other things, that if she beats me in one of those workouts, I'm like, okay, I know this is a weakness, and now I just have to continue to work on that until I, start to close the gap between her and workouts like that. So, and it just makes it so much more fun when you have like-minded people that you get to spend your training with and hang out outside of the gym, just because they're not only phenomenal athletes, but they're great, fun people to be around.
Kari, thank you so much for doing this. Best of luck the rest of the way, and we certainly look forward to seeing if you can improve upon your performance here in 2021 that you put up last year.
Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate it.
Open starts on March 11th. If you haven't signed up, head to games.crossfit.com to throw your hat into the ring, and we'll see you for 21.1.